Give me the best team to land these recently released or players that are requesting / looking for a trade in NFL free agency. Give me the best team to land these players in free agency. First up, Zadarius Smith.
I went Panthers. There's a lot of spots he can go. Any team in need of a lineman can go after Zadarius, but I picked the
I'm going to
Panthers.
say the Bengals. And with Sam Hubbard retiring, you also have Trey Hendrickson, who was offered 30 to 32 million a year. Crazy. Not that he doesn't deserve it. Before the Bengals allowed him to seek a trade, I think if you're looking at a Bengals team who was already struggling, they just are probably going to lose their top 2 pass rushers. Zadarius Smith has to go over to the Bengals and make an impact. Next name up, Tyler Lockett.
Raiders with Geno makes the most sense to me. Another team I had was the Cowboys because it just seems like a Cowboys thing to do to sign an aging receiver that is kind of lacking in production.
Yeah, before we got on the show, I just saw the news break that the Cowboys, thankfully for my New Orleans Saints, they signed Peyton Turner from us. It was like a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. Peyton Turner's a bust. He's probably the worst draft pick that the Saints have had over the last few years. I remember when I was doing a show with a couple shows back before the NFL with AJL, I stayed at the studio to watch the pick come across the screen. And when they selected Peyton Turner, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he wasn't on anybody's boards, and we just burned a first on him. So to compliment on what you said about Tyler Lockett potentially to the Cowboys, yeah, that would be a very Cowboys thing to do. Speaking of the Saints, former coach Sean Payton, I think he would look good with the Denver Broncos. I think Tyler Lockett would look very solid with the Denver Broncos. You talk about how Bo Nix was in year 1. You see that Cortland Sutton had a 1,000-yard season, but then after that, Marvin Mims coming in at about 550, 600 yards on the year. So they need a veteran to get in there. Not that Cortland isn't, but they need a veteran to come in that's been in the league for a decade like Tyler Lockett has, really mentor that wide receiver room, and still be able to produce himself. Joey Bosa.
Yeah, I believe I just saw that he went to the
Really?
Niners
Really?
today. Yeah, I believe so.
He's in
I think they paired
talks.
him up because the Niners got rid of,
Javon
they
Hargrave.
got rid of one of their ends. They got rid of Hargrave, and I think, Leonard
Yeah,
as well,
they
I believe.
Leonard, was it Leonard Floyd?
Leonard Floyd, I
Jeez.
believe, yeah. So, pairing him
Yep.
with his brother is, I mean, it's interesting. Joey Bosa, the production there hasn't been crazy, but, he's getting a little older, but I still think that would be
Yeah.
dope.
The Falcons signed Leonard Floyd, bro. Woo!
Oh,
That's
wow.
big. That's big for Atlanta. That is big for Atlanta. Wow. They finally go and get a pass rusher. Finally, a guy who can get off of the edge and really help the Falcons out. Wow, wow, wow. We will definitely be talking about that one on Friday's show. Yeah, Joey Bosa is in talks with the Niners. I'm going to say the Niners as well because they did just lose Leonard Floyd, because they did lose Javon Hargrave, both very talented guys. And I feel like anyone who plays on that Niners anyone who really plays on that Niners defensive line, like, they're always going to be good because that's just really the system that they run. And it seems like they don't ever miss on the defensive trenches anyway. So yeah, for Joey Bosa, I'm going to say the Niners, get him in there, team up with his brother, hopefully get him more healthy. And more than anything, the Niners do need it. Darius Slay.
So, he's linked to Pittsburgh, and I thought he went to Pittsburgh, but he
Yep. It's not
hasn't
official
yet. And, interesting enough, I think the best landing spot
Me
is
too.
Philly. I think returning to Philly is actually the best way things could land for Darius Slay, especially with CJ Gardner-Johnson now leaving because we know they had that beef. I think Slay in Philly is the best landing spot.
I'm going to say Philly as well. Bring him back. Have him give more mentorship to Cooper DeJean, to Quinyon Mitchell. Have him just still be on that defense because we see the Eagles' defense is kind of getting shelled out. I mean, they lost Milton Williams. They lost Josh Sweat. Who else did they just lose? Oh, CJ Gardner-Johnson, of course, like that. That defense is – yeah, Isaiah Rodgers as well.
Lots of
Yeah, they're
guys.
getting shelled out from the best defense in the league, one of the youngest defense to ever win a Super Bowl. I'm going to say the Eagles for Slay as well. Get him back home. Let him play one more good season. And yes, he is in talks with the Steelers. It's not official yet. Mike Florio of is it Pro Football Talk? I believe, is saying that the Eagles might try to get trade compensation for Darius Slay, which I believe if they're knowledgeable, which I know they are, shout out to the owner and the GM, they'll do that. Von Miller.
Yeah, Vaughn. I mean, watching him as a Bills fan this year, like there was a slight deterioration
Yeah.
for sure, which comes with age. I think I think when guys get older, they get more familiar and comfortable with going back to teams that they've played on. So I had Von Miller with either the Broncos or the Rams, returning to two teams that could probably contend, could probably use a
Old
veteran pass
homes.
rusher, and he could return and I mean, he already knows the system, right? Like he's already been there, done that, return, play a small aspect in the defense. I could
Yeah.
see it happen.
I'm going to go the Bears here. The Bears are beefing up in the trenches. Again, we talked about the 3 linemen they signed earlier. We talked about Grady Jarrett going over there as well. And I think you just bring in a guy like Von Miller who is able to mentor, you know, a young defense, a defense that's looking to grow. I almost was thinking about the Broncos here for a second, but no, thinking of your take and then how he's been there before. Yeah, I really think Von Miller to the Bears would be a good addition. You know, they're building up in the trenches. And when you talk about a linebacker slash edge rusher that could just really go in and mentor a Tremaine Edmonds, that can really go in and mentor a TJ Edwards and still possibly provide some snaps and some pressures and some hits and some sacks for defense. I love the Bears here. Last one up, Trey Hendrickson.
I think the Commanders are the Colts. So the Commanders got rid of Josh Allen. He's gone. And they have the cap space for Hendrickson, and they are a contender. So bringing an all-pro on the lineup makes sense. And then the Colts, they've been beefing up that defense all year long. They have some quarterback questions. Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson is an abysmal quarterback battle. But if they're looking to continue adding to the defense, I think Hendrickson. So Commanders or Colts for
I'm
me.
going to go the Lions. I think the Lions would be a great fit for Trey Hendrickson, returning him back to the NFC. You see,
They'll land a D lineman at
yeah,
some
yeah,
point, I think, because they lost to
hmm
Darius now, and they need
right.
something. They need something to pair because they've had a lot of injury
Yep,
problems too. That was the thing that
yep,
burned them last year.
yep. I think Trey Hendrickson could be great on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson, and even Aleem McNeil, who's over there as well. Detroit could make a splash move with getting Trey Hendrickson in. And this guy just works his ass off everywhere he goes. He's a good Christian man. He's always posting great stuff on social media. The fact that a $32 million deal for a guy who led the league in sacks wasn't enough. Hey, brother, I respect it. I respect the fact that you want to go get that bag because you only get paid like this. Like you're lucky to get 2 big contracts in the NFL. That's what we always say. If you can get to a second big contract as a player, you're doing something right. Or you're the Cleveland Browns paying Deshaun Watson or Myles Garrett. Obviously,
Yeah.
not Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Myles Garrett being the better of the two. So I'm going to say the Detroit Lions to land Trey Hendrickson. Y'all get in the chat, in the comments. Let us know the best team to land these NFL free agents that are still looking for a home.
Hey, it's AJL here. Appreciate you sticking to the end of the video here on YouTube. You could have chose any other show, but you chose my video, and for that, I'm very grateful. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. Hit the bell on the channel so you never miss a post. Check me out on all social media platforms. Right here, you'll find a chance to subscribe to the show, a related video, and a playlist. See you guys in the next one.